Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. Welcome to this series wherein we have been discussing the top MBA colleges if you have percentiles in the range 70 to 90. For the past few weeks, in the past three videos, we discussed about some of the colleges that take in the range 80 to 90, right? 80 percentile, 85 percentile. Today we will be discussing the colleges that are generally in the range 70 to 80. Okay, and these have been shortlisted based on certain factors like whenever you target a college, what are the things that you must look for is one is of course the brand, right? Let us say if it's an IM, so obviously that will be a better institute, right? Maybe there might be some other institutes that are better than that. Okay, so apart from brand, you have the location, then you have of course the year in which setup. Okay, the age of the institute you can say, and then basically some about alum base, right? How, where are the alumni, etc. And then you of course look for placements and other things. You look for, the first thing that people look for is placements, because placements are a byproduct of all these things, right? That is not just one factor, but also apart from that you must also look at P with respect to placement, right? Suppose you are getting a placement, let's say a college claims the placements are not the correct thing, right? So, so there are some colleges that have like good placements. They show gross good placement, but at the same time, their fees might be very high. Okay, so anyway, the college, the placement should not be looked upon, because most of these times, most of these cases, the placement figures are inflated, right? So what they project is not actually the actual placement. And many a times what happens is not even the best of the institutes, uh, and there are very few institutes who will have very genuine placement reports. Sometimes they might tell about that they achieved 100% placement, but that is not the case. They ask some students to drop out. Right, they will say that these students wanted to pursue entrepreneurship or something and opted out of placement, and they are forcefully opted out, right? So that is why I never consider placement as a factor, because having studied in a B school, I know how these placements things work, right? What are average CTC? What is the difference between CTC? So sometimes people assume that okay, someone is getting a CTC of let us say 20 lakhs per annum, right? But not necessarily that the person's actual salary is that. So it will have a fixed component plus the variable component. And higher you go in the CTC thing, the variable components keep increasing. So maybe your fixed is just 12 to 13 lakh. Rest is all variable. That is one-time joining bonus, right? Another insurance, another ESOPs, etc. So that is why placements should not be seen. But unfortunately, that is the thing that most of the people look after things. Okay, so let us look at some of the institutes that could be targeted if you have percentiles in the range 70 to 80. Okay, so we have this CAT PI/WAT program. So in case you have got calls from the B schools and want to take mock PI with us, you can enroll in this program. Now, since we discussed the colleges above 80, today we are going to discuss about colleges in the range 75 to 80, right? Or 70 to 80 rather. Okay, so like I've given them rating B. Uh, so still in tier 2 colleges, these won't be called as tier 1 colleges. So tier 1 colleges are generally that accept 90 plus percentile, right? So 90 plus is tier 1. Then you have 70 to 90, the ones which are okay type are tier 2. These would be somewhere in tier 2 and tier 3 colleges. Now, NIT Trichy. Okay, so NIT tag may be good for engineering, but not for MBA. Not great for MBA. For engineering, of course, NIT Trichy is a well-known institute. Okay, like you have IITs and NITs, they are very good for engineering, but for MBA, only some of them lie in the tier one, most of them lie in the tier two, right? So, of course, IITs are much better. But if you talk about this Trichy Old Institute, right? So it has the advantage of, see, why are these institute? Why would you prefer an NIT over some other these named institute which you may not be very popular about because of the alum thing, right? Let us say someone did engineering from NIT, okay? So did not do MBA but did engineering, right? Now that is the payback time. Like let's say someone is in a higher position somewhere, right? Though, so that person might have some soft corner for his or her institute, right? So that's how things work, right? So when you see people from some alumni, so they have that inclination towards that institute, right? They want to hire people from that. So many of the times when you go to B schools, if a company comes uh, and the person who is supposed to hire from that company is from your college, so they give you, generally they give you preference. So people have that thing. Okay, so he is from X institute, so when he goes to he will have some sort of bias, right? Although that is not true always, but yes, still it matters. Now the good advantage here is the fees, right? Being in NIT, your fees is very low, so you have some good ROI, right? People talk about ROI, so ROI wise it is good. Okay, so that is the reason that people still target it. Like if you do not want to have a burden of loan on you, then this is something that you could target. Then we have SIES Mumbai, which is again South Indian Education Society, it's called, right? So fees is of 9 lakh average CTC. Now these are the CTC presented by the sites. As I said that like how authentic they are, that they only would know, but that is what they have mentioned on their sites, these all these institutes in the recent reports. So you can say that okay, less than one ROI, but still fine. Okay, now, MDA Murshidabad, I would rate it higher because of the average CTC they claim, right? The CTC is over in two figures, two figures in terms of lakhs, right? So these are in terms of lakhs. So the CTC is high, quite high, 11.32. Now this is again like it's a sister branch of MDI, Gurgaon, right? Of course, Gurgaon is much better than this. It is a recent institute. In the future, it can be a better institute because it's a very recent. You see, just that it is 2014. It started and is giving good returns, right? So in the future, it will become a prospect institute. Maybe the cutoffs will go over 80, 85, and probably more also in the future if it continues to give good returns. So it is something that where you get good placements as compared to many of these colleges. Then there is Indian Institute of Forest Management. Now this does not give you the typical MBA like MBA in marketing finance or something. So if you want to pursue MBA in sustainable management, right? So those kind of courses are present in this MBA in sustainable management. So that, like if you are targeting like people target IRMA, right? Rural management. So this is a very niche college. Okay, particular focus on sustainable management, not the conventional that finance or let us say operations, marketing, those kind of conventions. So it's if you are inclined towards this field, like if you are inclined towards environment, wish to pursue education in that field, I want to have a master's degree in that field. So that is a good institute because if you see the fees is not very high, like not in the double digits in lakhs, right? So less than 10 lakhs and average CTC is also fine. Now at the times, right, as I said that CTC should not be the judging criteria. For example, some people look for TISNET, like some people call it Tata Institute of Social Sciences. They do not regard it as a very great institute, but I would rate it as the uh, like I would rate it within top 20 because of the quality of education that they provide. Okay, it is not about just the numbers, just the placement numbers, but the type of work that those people do. People graduating out of testnet, right? Similarly, like MICA, right? Mudra Institute of Communications. Some people do not consider it among the top 20 B schools. They say that okay, the fees is high, the placement is low, but the quality of education that they have in brand management is unmatchable. Okay, so here also you get a decent in terms of education learning. You will have a great learning, right? Maybe the placement figures do not look very bright to you. Okay, now then there is Indian Institute of Social Welfare and Business Management. Now again this is related to like if you want to pursue MBA in social welfare, okay, that category, then it is based out of Kolkata, a very old institute, right? Fees is very low. CTC is also less, but yes, again uh, it's a fine institute, like provided you do not want to spend too much on education. Let us say you want to, let's say if you are a localite, or even if you are not, but you have if the fee is the concern, your score is not great, so this is something that you could target. Now if we talk about some more institute which are generally in the rating B minus, I would call them, right? Not the top ones. Okay, that would these would go into the tier 3 bucket. The reason being, see, all these institutes have fees of greater than 10 lakh, right? And CTC is less than that, right? So the return on investment is less than one, that is fine, but the fees is also very high, right? In the previous institutes, we discussed that the fees was at least low, right? Except MDI Murshidabad, where the CTC was also good, a decent one. But here you see that the fees is also high. So then you have ITM Mumbai. So located in Mumbai, so location advantage is there. Okay, then fees is fine. CTC is in this range. Then IMT Nagpur. So IMT Ghaziabad is of course a decent one that would come in tier 1 institute. But when we talk about IMT Nagpur, and for the sake of Hyderabad also, there also the I mean the cutoffs and all are in this range around 70 percentile. The fees is again like quite high. So if you come from a middle class family, so that is a big amount of expense for you. Okay, average CTC is still okay as compared to many of the other institutes. So if you get into this percentile range, so this is one institute that you could target. Then there is SDM Institute of Management Development located in Mysore. Okay, so location wise, slightly off the location, right? As I said that if an institute is located in a metro city, Mumbai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, right, Bangalore, Delhi, so you have those kind of advantage that there is industry interaction, right? You can approach, there are several companies based out of there. You can you can look after some internship, you can get some projects, and that becomes easy, right? For placement also, placement purpose also, it is easy for those institutes to bring companies. Now it is located in Mysore. Okay, still close to Bangalore. Okay, the fees is high, and this is the CTC, that is 8.9. Okay, now these do not have very high brand value also. The another thing that you must think of is now I've picked those which still have some brand value, are popular among institutes. So those have been picked because there are several institutes that give you admission if you get in the range of 70 plus percentile, but in most of them you won't get uh, good placements. And the thing is, another thing that is, these are tier 3, they do not have 100% placement, right? So now the placement could be like somewhere to 80 to 95% placement. So not all people get placed in these institutes. Okay, one another thing that you need to keep in mind, some might have 80%, and that also is an exaggerated number. Let us say a college says that there is 90% placement, but actual could be 80% placement. So you do not know the actual things. So even if you research on those things, you will not get the true picture, because they always show exaggerated figures, right? So if you want to get to the true picture, I mean, the thing is, talk to the recent that means recent batch students. That is the only way to get correct information about any of the colleges, right? You can go to LinkedIn, search for those colleges, right? And that is something that you need to check with those people, because they will give you the true picture that how many percentage were placed. And if you look at on the internet, you will get, okay, they claim that okay, 95% of the batch got placed, but maybe just 85% of the batch got placed. They just included some more people, or they mentioned some people that these people opted out, but they could not place those people, right? So that is something that uh, one thing that you need to check. Then BIMTech Noida is another institute, popular in the name, right? Because of Birla Institute. Okay, but not that great. I wouldn't say that it's a very great institute, but still fine. A lot of people talk about this institute. Maybe they have created the brand uh, uh, by a well-known institute, right? But okay type institute located in Noida, and the fees is around 12 lakhs. Average CTC they claim is 9.1 lakh, 9.2 lakhs. Okay, cutoff 72, 73 percentile is the cutoff in generally in that range. Okay. Then we have International Management Institute, IMI Kolkata, right? IMI also, there are multiple IMI, right? So IMI Delhi is the favorite one. That is of course a good institute, but this is something so that needs to know, right? Like for example, IMT there is Ghaziabad. So IMT Ghaziabad has a better brand value than IMT Nagpur, right? Similarly, MDI Gurgaon versus MDI Murshidabad. So there are some institutes that people think that okay, that is similar to that. Okay, the same name. So don't you should know that which one is better one, which one is the other one, right? For example, IMI Delhi, right? If someone says IMI Delhi, yes, that's a decent institute, but IMI Kolkata may not be that great because recently opened up, okay, 2011, and the fees is high. According to that, the placement you say is quite low, right? So approximately you can say that somewhere around 50% is the ROI that people look for. Again, the placement statistics are not sure. As I said that these are 80 to 95% placements, and sometimes what happens is these people these uh, let us say a couple of students get placed abroad, right? So that heavily inflates the placement reports. Okay, let's say a person getting let's say some person gets placed in the Middle East, and they claim a CTC of 20 lakhs, but 20 lakhs is nothing in Middle East as compared to India. Okay, so that is another thing in your placement figures, right? Then we have ICFI Business School Hyderabad, IBS it is called, right? Not to be confused with ISB Hyderabad. ISB is altogether a different brand. Okay, established in 1995, and the fees is very high. The bad point is like, so some people get confused, right? Some people do not know, they think that okay, IBS is a great institute. No, it is not. That is ISB that people think of. Okay, so maybe on that shade they might have got this recognition. Okay, but uh, again, right, fees is very high. If you look at the placement, like if you compare these all these institutes, the fees is at least low, right? Here the fees is 16 lakhs, so it is it makes a lot of difference, right? So obviously BIMTech would be a better bet than going to ICFI Hyderabad, right? So that is the thing about these institutes. So these are the institutes that you can target when you have scores in the range 70 plus 70 75. Okay, and like if you are very desperate to get into MBA, I would suggest that like if you have no such obligation, let's say you have a job with you are pursuing a job, uh, you could not do well in CAT, you think that you can do better in CAT. Okay, you did okay type, you think that yes, if you work hard, right, you can get a better thing next year. You have work experience, you let's say you do not have work experience also. Okay, so you can gain work experience, okay, and then do better, because instead of going to these institutes, you try harder next year, better performance in CAT, maybe get into a better institute. So that should be your target. These should never be your aspiring institutes. And we just give you the data because of like there are people who fall into this bucket, but unless it is your compulsion to do MBA, it is very, very compulsory for you to do because of any reason, then only you should get into these institutes. Otherwise, one should always aim to get into the best possible institutes. So if you're a fresher, I would not say that you should go into these institutes, right? So you can take one more attempt, and even though you do not have any work ex, you can take one more attempt as a fresher, because okay, you think you worry about the and the gap, right? 1 year gap does not matter. So I would recommend that take better institutes. Yes, if you have no other choice, then these are the institutes. If you fall into these categories, these are some things that you could target in these course. Okay, so you can follow us on our Telegram channels, and like if you have any queries related to MBA preparation, be it academic, non-academic, any, you can reach out to our counselors over there, the faculty members. They take up live sessions and guide you for your preparation, your admissions, etc. So thanks for watching this video. Have a great day ahead. Goodbye.